Time. Hey everyone, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one, the only Samantha Fox.
Hiya, how are you?
You're in your New York orange sweatshirt today,
I
sweater.
am. I've just got to tilt the camera there. There
I
you go.
love it. A little New York City representation, even though you're
We've
across
got a
the
lot of memories from you,
pond.
darling. A lot of memories. A lot of
I
memories.
I love it. Well, listen, later on in a few minutes into the show, we're going to talk about the fact that you are coming back to the States and all of that. But, let's start at the beginning. When someone's been here the first time, I like to get to know them. You got into the business at such a young age, like your first single kind of happened simultaneously with your mother sending in these pictures of you to this amateur modeling contest, when you were young, you were
They were very
chosen.
tasteful. Very tasteful. I just got to stop you there because whenever they say, "Oh, your mother sent in pictures," it just seems a little bit seedy, but they're really tasteful. So carry on, baby.
That is, well, listen, that's why you're here because there is so many things. It does imply that they weren't tasteful. And it implies, I know there's this whole story that then you ended up posing topless for this. I mean, listen, I actually read your book Forever. So, there's
Good.
this thing that you also, posed topless, like when you were, younger at a certain age. And then
Yeah. I
like
mean,
talk to me
there's
about that
the
because what I was going to say, like when I read your book, it didn't like stand out to me as anything shocking, and now like when I say it back, I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah, I know. It does sound shocking now, really, to be 17 and going into, glamour modeling. But we're talking about the 80s and the early 80s. And I don't know about you or anybody else, but I was very mature for my age. I went to drama school, and I mixed a lot of adults. And I was people used to say about me, oh my God, she's a 10-year-old with 40-year-old head on shoulders. And I think that was because from an early age I did acting and singing and blah blah blah, you know. And for me to go into glamour modeling, remember it wasn't planned that I'd do topless modeling or pure glamour. It was just the face and shape, and it went on from there. Photographers, and magazines offering me lots and lots of money, and saying to me that you could be the next this and the next that. Of course, that went over my head because you all hear that, but in the end, it came true. It was an amazing career. But all along, I was a singer, really and truly. I was a singer, actress, from the age of 5. You know, um, it didn't do Madonna any harm. Oh, it's really bad. Sorry.
Is that really how it was, like, when you were, doing the modeling, because that kind of came first? Was singing always like the goal for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess from an early age doing musicals and musicals and acting at a young age, I was always singing. It wouldn't be acting, in the forefront. It would be the singing. And then as I got older, it would become the acting. But singing, foremost, was always for me, you know, for and foremost. That was the beginning of me, was when I was a little girl singing, really. As soon as I opened my mouth, I would sing. Probably drove my mum mad.
How did you
I could still.
transition then? How did you transition because you were so well known? Like I read somewhere, which has to be a great accomplishment, that you were the most popular pinup girl of the era, the most photographed British woman of the 1980s. These are big accomplishments. Like, how did you transition from this pinup model to singing?
Yeah, it was for it from a pin-up to singer. It was quite difficult, really, because you've really got to prove yourself lots and lots. Because when you're a pretty face, a lot of people think that you can't do much else, really. You know, I mean, I think Adele's got a beautiful face. Look at her voice. What more can I say? But people do have preconceived ideas about blonde girls, blonde or dark, with a beautiful face and a good body. I don't know why, but they do. and it kind of stops there. But we have many, many talents, us blonde girls, us dark girls, you know. Whatever, I mean, we all have a good talent, whatever you look like. But it's much more difficult, I think, for a glamour girl in the industry to be taken seriously.
Did you
Yeah.
face a lot of that even like before music, like from classmates, like teachers, because these pictures, right? Like people see a pretty girl in certain pictures and then it's a stereotype. Like, did you face a lot of that in reality?
Not when I became famous because I was still living at home with my parents and I was guarded and I was looked after. But I tell you what, when I was at school, I used to suffer quite a lot, definitely. I was bullied quite a lot because a lot of boys used to like me. It was always slag Samantha Fox or, when you're like 11, 12 and you don't even know what these words mean. But it's because a lot of boys fancied me, and you don't really realize that until you leave school that you were popular or dispopular with the girls. A mixed school was kind of difficult, really, to be honest.
Well, I was
I
not popular in school and I knew it. So there you go. But that's just me.
mean, I was popular, but there was a lot of jealousy even then when I was at school. Yeah, because a lot of boys liked me, so um, it was difficult at school, but I had my little gang of friends, and that was cool, you know. But yeah, there was a certain element that girls used to call me really bad names because boys used to like me, and you can't help that, can you? Really?
It's all just jealousy, right?
Yeah, and that's a sad thing. I mean, I've learned later in life that jealousy, when people get older, is a bad illness, and I don't know. I've never been jealous of anybody. I've always been in admiration to people, and I love to learn from people, but never really jealous. I mean, have you? I don't know. Have you?
Not really. I mean, I feel like you just need my best advice to people is you just got to kind of focus on yourself and you're in competition with yourself, really, not anybody else.
Yeah, I know. That's a difficult thing when you're young, really, and people have got to be just kind of like that and ignore them, really, aren't they? Really.
When you look back on these pictures, like I know you did Playboy and all these, I mean, like, do you look back and say, wow, like look what I accomplished? Or are you one, like if you asked me to listen to an episode of this podcast from 4 years ago that I did, I would say I can't, like I cringe. Do you look at your pictures fondly or are you like, I just can't look at these?
Charles in Charge, I look back at and I think I feel really good about.